So you think the skill to be a CEO is different, are different, linked to the size of the company?
I think ultimately, yes. The larger you become, the more different you need to structure your company. I think I'm happy to talk about this. One element that was very difficult for us with Simply Jet is the first few years, everybody knew each other on a very deep level. Every team member knew other team members, their families, their hobbies, what are they like, what's their personality, etc. It was very closely knit.
Like a family.
Yeah, exactly. We still have a great atmosphere in-house, of course, and a lot of fun, but once again, utmost respect for the companies that manage to keep this family spirit while growing a lot, because when you grow, you need processes. There are a few things you need to have rules. You need to have a clear performance metrics, who earns how much, on what basis, how are HR issues handled, etc. And as you do that and you scale your company, you just cannot dedicate so much time as you did a few years ago on an individual level. And as this happens, naturally you need to change your management style. And whereas 4 or 5 years ago, I knew everyone personally. If anyone had an issue, I could take care of it and get into the meat of it. Now it's maybe intermediate management that will do that. And maybe in 5 years, today I'm handling the issues of intermediate management. Maybe in 5 years, there is another level in between. Or I don't know, I'm only doing representation, traveling around the world and talking on podcasts. I don't know. I think you need to change your management style as your company grows. Otherwise, you're going to run into some issues.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. And you were talking with this fact of being a family at the beginning. But working with people that it can be challenging, because how do you work with a friend, this friend messed up or didn't do what he was supposed to do? Or how do you manage this part of the relationship, I'd say, or even you to receive feedbacks? Because it's friends, so it's always harder to.
Yeah, it's an excellent question, and frankly, I think we've been extremely lucky in that regards, because Patrick and Mathieu, in full, my two co-founders and myself, in these 10 years of working together, we literally never shouted at each other a single time. Not a single time. We, of course, had some constructive debates or criticism. Okay, you did this in this way. You maybe could have consulted with us before and there was a better avenue for the business, etc. But there just never was an issue. And I don't have a recipe for it. I wish I would. I think we were mostly lucky. It probably comes down to you need to separate slightly your personalities. There is my friend Patrick, where we hang out after work, have a beer, play video games together, or whatever. And then there is Patrick, my CFO and partner, where we are sitting in his office and reviewing the budget and arguing about it. And one is purely personal, the other is professional, and you draw a bit of a line and you hope it works.
So you differentiate the two. You create two, let's say, persona between private and business. And
to some extent, not entirely, but to some extent you have to, otherwise it just doesn't work. Yeah.
When you say there is this differentiation, can you also, of course it's hard to say, okay, how did it get to get along so well for 10 years? Mm-hmm. But if you would describe the relationship that you have, maybe we can understand. Okay, but what's the maybe, I don't know. The obvious thing would be respect, communication. Yeah. But if you describe your relationship with Patrick that you have today, mm-hmm. how this relationship looks like?
Well, he's one of my best friends, so it looks like a relationship with a best friend. His wife and my girlfriend, they know each other super well. We have I don't know, dinner together, events, whatever. We share a lot of the same hobbies. Um, at work, of course, we also have personal conversations whenever we can find the time for them. And yeah, he's a guy, I don't know, it's a Monday morning. We haven't seen each other for the weekend. I come in the office and we kind of high five each other because that's how friends are, right? And you can maintain that while working together for 10 years, I believe.
Mm.
I know I'm really struggling to answer that question because
It's a very hard question.
as a general principle, I would probably say do not build a business with your friends.
That's the common knowledge. That's why I'm trying to dig a bit.
I probably have the same opinion today, so that's why I go kind of back to luck. Maybe one key element I would say is do not build a business with a good friends if it's only two of you, because then a lot of conversation points will be confrontational, one opinion versus the other, and you're gonna get stuck in non-decision making limbo. And we were three, and I think often two of the partners have, or now we are more, but two of the initial founders had an opinion, the third one a different one, and then we would just the majority wins. And if you're alone versus two opinions, you're like, oh well, if the two of them think like that, probably it's the right thing to do or the right decision to make. So I will just simplify it as is. You can do a business with friends, not if you're only two.
I think it's a very good. I can really understand that, and because it dilutes, right, the main, if there is some challenge and everything. With Patrick, for example, outside of when you see outside of work, do you speak a lot about work, or do you have some rules to? Okay, today we don't speak about work. We speak.
We don't have rules, but usually when we see each other outside of work, and that is true for Patrick and me, and Matt and me, and also Gaëtan, our other partner, is if there are other people around, we're really gonna try and limit how much we talk about work. We already talk about work every day in the office. We'd rather just chill and talk about other topics. You cannot. Inevitably, we're gonna have some small conversations about work, but we try to avoid them.